what is your soul yearning to experience? Not what is society telling you it should experience and you should do. What is your soul yearning? And what does your soul need to root into to do that, to allow yourself to live that way? What needs to be in place? What structures need to be in place? Solidifying the change, confronting any lingering power struggles within you and in your environment. Good morning, my loves. So here is the video you've all been waiting for. Pluto returning back to Capricorn for last time in our lifetime. Now, what does it mean for us to have Pluto back in Capricorn in 29 degrees, critical anaretic degree of Capricorn for the last time in 240 years? So, yep, last time for us, most likely. But before we dive deep, let's look at a few important dates. Now, Pluto moved into Capricorn in 2008. And in Capricorn, Pluto was working on the structures of society and also the structures of your individual life. There was probably a lot of restructuring. And when I say restructuring, the way Pluto restructures is different to the way Saturn restructures, for example. Pluto, more often than not, just tears down the existing structures so we can rebuild. Sometimes you have a little bit left and you can use it to rebuild, but more often than not, there's a complete restructuring. So when you look back, I don't know how old you are, but when you look back to 2008 and those years in between to now 2024, who was that person and who are you now? When it comes to the structures of your life, right? We can look at all parts of life and all different situations. And of course we grow and evolve, in time, some more than others. But when it comes to the structures of your life, how stable are they? How grounded are you? What are you rooted into? I think this seems to be the topic for the rest of the year. I've been saying this so many times in the past few videos, talking about all kinds of things, all kinds of happenings in the heavens, new moons, full moons. I use this description, rooting into. What are you rooting into? What are you rooted into? Do you need to uproot and root into a different environment? This is part of what you are going to go through now in the next 2.5 months. I think the next 2.5 months are going to be really critical. Again, I know it sounds dramatic, but really critical when it comes to moving forward after this. Because when Pluto is done with the Capricorn energy, it will also still utilize what it has built or rebuilt to continue building in Aquarius. So every sign that follows the other is building upon what was given, what was created, what was done in the sign before, right? It's an integration. Everything needs to be integrated. So we need to integrate that Capricorn energy, that structure, restructuring, so we feel stable within ourselves. Remember, Pluto represents the soul's potential in this lifetime. I know this is a mouthful. This is, we can obviously dissect this, what this means. But really, it is like, what is your soul yearning to experience? Not what is society telling you it should experience and you should do. What is your soul yearning? And what does your soul need to root into to do that, to allow yourself to live that way? What needs to be in place? What structures need to be in place? So on the first or second, depending on where you're at in the world, Pluto is going to retrograde back into Capricorn, 29 degrees, and will stay there for 2.5 months. And then on I think it's the 18th of November. Let me see. Oh, the 19th of November, it is going to move back into Aquarius. And that's it, folks. quite literally. So what Pluto is doing now is completing and integrating what was initiated in the past 15 or so years, right? 2008. If you can think back what your life was like, what you were trying to do, where you were at, what you believed you could have, what you believed you could do in this world, on that soul level, right? On that yearning, that inner yearning that we all have. For some of us, it's louder. Others, it's more quiet. But that it is there, that soul yearning to experience the fullness of life. So it's time to complete that process that you've been initiating throughout those years, solidifying the change, confronting any lingering power struggles within you and in your environment, wrapping up unfinished business, specifically referring to the structures and authority in your life. This transit is the bridge between two worlds. We've been going back and forth between these two worlds in the past year, and you've probably felt really ungrounded. There's one foot here, one foot there. I certainly have felt that strongly. I was here, but not really here yet, but was still there, but also not there anymore. I was like, where am I? Where am I? Now it is time to integrate all those lessons, all those learnings, whatever you restructured, solidifying it so you can utilize that to move into the new world, your new world, your individual new world, but then also you as part of the collective, right? We're moving into Aquarius, collective. The collective is going to be more important. Doesn't mean the individual doesn't count. Of course it doesn't mean that. The individual is an integral part of the collective. So the individual needs to be healthy so the collective can be healthy as well. But we will talk about that when we talk about Pluto in Aquarius on a deeper level. So now let's get into the rising signs. What does it mean for your rising sign? Well, if you are an Aries Rising, this transit is in your 10th house. You in the light, your purpose work, your aspirations, most likely your professional life. What still needs to be integrated, possibly restructured before it's integrated, so you can thrive. You can move forward. Your soul is happy. That soul yearning, solidifying the change that you want to see in your life. What needs to be done? This can also, certainly this can relate to relationships of sort, like family, but also I can also see this as a partnership, right? Maybe you want to solidify something within partnerships. I know this is usually the 7th house department, but you need to remember everything is connected. And the way the 7th house and the 4th house are connected with the 10th house is by opposition and square. So the biggest lessons in life. And the connection here might be that maybe you solidify a partnership through marriage. But I think for most people, this may relate to their professional life. Now, Taurus and Taurus Rising, for you, this transit is happening in the 9th house. This transit is all about your belief system, right? You've probably gone through a lot of belief system shifts and changes, maybe also relating to religion, religious beliefs. Maybe you've been moving around a lot in the world, venturing out, trying to find your place, not really understanding where you belong. And throughout that, you've learned a lot. Now it is time to solidify, hone in, and decide what your new world is going to look like. Is it going to look like you still wandering around everywhere? Or have you found a place? Have you decided on a place that can give you all of that, all of what you were looking for, yearning for? And when I say all of it, we always have to remember that we live in a dualistic world where there's polarity, and the all that we are yearning for is part of the process. So we will always keep thriving for more, because that is part of the growing, right? That's the whole idea of living. You grow bigger, right? From a baby to an adult. You grow, you evolve, you become literally more. And we come into this world to experience more, to experience the fullness, but we don't get the fullness in one package delivered. That fullness is in process. But understanding where you're at any given point is important to move forward. And also believing and trusting that you can move forward, you can get closer to where you want to go, step by step. Sometimes the step is bigger, sometimes it's smaller steps. But the process of evolving and growing is ongoing until we leave this planet. Now for you, it is time to make a decision, because when Pluto moves into your 10th house, into Aquarius, for good or for the next 20 years, then you need that a certain stability that you've created for yourself now, knowing where you're at, so you can actually fulfill your aspirations, right? 10th house aspirations, your purpose. You need stability for that, whatever that purpose is. Gemini Rising, for you, this transit is in the 8th house, the natural place for Pluto to be. Pluto does really well here. Pluto does its best work here, and Pluto's best work is often challenging and hard and like, what is going on? We gotta go deep, we gotta go down the rabbit hole, and Pluto will most likely go a tiny little deeper in the next 2 months. If there is still something that hasn't been really uncovered, recovered, and integrated, Pluto will hone in on that, and will hone in on that in a way that may not feel super pleasant. You may also already see some rewards of the work you've been doing. You will know where you're at, right? You will know where you're at and where you still have to fine tune. When we work in the 8th house, we work on self-worth stuff. Remember, the 2nd house and the 8th house is one axis. The 2nd house, the house of worth, is reflected in the 8th house. In the 8th house, you know where you're really at, because it's shown to you by the other. And the other, in most cases, is your partner. So there might be power struggles in partnership, where you really get a good look in the mirror the other, right? And see where you are at. You know, the issues that come up, the whatever is discussed, what does that mean about what's going on inside of you? Where do you still have to rearrange things so you are in your power, in your worth, standing in it, rooted deeply? 8th house, deep roots. Then Cancer Rising, for you, this aspect is the 7th house. Now, yes, relationships, one-on-one relationships, power struggles in one-on-one relationships. And what do those power struggles tell you about you? Where you're at, where you're not integrated. Why are you having power struggles with someone? This can be your partner, your romantic partner, but this can also be a business partner, long-term friends, even family members can show up here that you have one-on-one relationships with, where you are just, they drive you crazy. And they drive you crazy to show you what's not integrated, where you are not standing firm within you, where you are still directionless, where you're looking out for direction in the other. But what's your direction? And is it compatible? Also, that's especially in partnership, right? If we want to move into different directions, I mean, why? Why have we chosen that partner? What was that partner supposed to teach us? Again, this goes both ways, right? But we are talking about you now. We're not talking about your partner. This is the important thing to look at and to work on in the coming 2.5 months. Then what's next? Leo Rising. For you, we're talking about the 6th house, health, day-to-day routine. How integrated are you? How do you live your life on a day-to-day? Is this getting you somewhere, or are you just stirring the pot? Where are you going? Quite literally, where are you going every day? Do you want to go there? How healthy is it for you? What do you need to shift and change to feel more integrated, to feel like yourself and not like a robot that just does things? We all need routines. Don't get me wrong, we all need routines, but the routine you have, is that working for you? Is it exciting you? Is it filling you up? Is it serving you? House of service. You know, yes, we serve others, but how is that serving others serving us? What does it give us? How does it help us grow? Virgo and Virgo Rising. My lovely Virgos. 5th house. Your creative self-expression. Where are you when it comes to that? How are you expressing yourself creatively? And when I say creatively, I'm not just talking about you painting or singing or whatever, doing any creative job, no. But what does that actually mean? Expressing yourself. Expressing you. That is inside you, your sun. Yes, we're talking about Pluto, but the 5th house is representing the sun, the guiding light, shining your light into the world. How are you shining your light into the world? Are you shining your light into the world? Or are you taking part of someone else's light and try to utilize that for yourself? This is about you and your self-expression. Are you expressing yourself as you? That is something that will be shown to you. It will be shown to you in terms of where you're at. This can also relate to children in some shape or form, if you have them or not, if you want them or not. You know, maybe that is still something you're evaluating within you. But I think the biggest thing here is you expressing yourself as you, as the sun that you are. Pluto wants you to shine. And Pluto is asking you to do all the things, all the reworkings, all the restructuring, so you can then be of service to the world in the 6th house, right? Because we're moving to the 6th house. You, Virgo Rising, moving to the 6th house. You want to express yourself. You want to be of service to the world in your own way. But you gotta have everything in place. You gotta be you, yourself. Doing it from that core essence. Libra and Libra Rising. For you, this aspect is happening in the 4th house. So finishing up unfinished business, power struggles when it comes to your personal life, relationships with family, personal relationships. What's happening behind closed doors? Do you like what's happening there? Do you like to live there actually? Or is it time to move on quite literally? Remember what I said earlier. Look back at 2008. Where were you at? And how have you grown? on a structural level? How have you restructured your life? And do you feel more like yourself now? Is there more of you shining? Specifically, when it comes to your personal life, do you live like you want to live? In your home? Do you feel at home in your home? Where are you at there? Review this area and restructure if necessary. This can also relate to family relationships, to mother and father specifically. To both mother and father. You know, always we hear astrologers talk about, oh no, this is the house of the mother. Oh no, it's the house of the father. This is the house of the family. And your family is your mother and your father. They made you. You needed both to become this, right? They united and made you. So what's your relationship to your parents? Like, honestly. Not like, yeah, it's fine. Deep down, where are you, still a little mad? Where do you need to, digest things still within you? Find a way to restructure things within you so you can make peace with things on a deeper level, right? We're talking about Pluto here, the deepest level there is. Scorpio and Scorpio Rising. For you, this is all happening in the third house, environment, your social circle. How is your social circle serving you? How is it not serving you? Also immediate family, aunts, uncles, siblings. What's your relationship like? Where are you still mad with your brother, your sister? Where have you not integrated this relationship properly? Where do you still think, oh, your brother is like this, and oh, you can't stand it, and where is it still making you mad? And why? What is behind that? Again, same goes for your environment, the environment you live in, you've lived in for the last 20 years. Are you feeling at peace there? Are you feeling at home there? The level of communication you have with the people in your environment, is that filling you up? Is that filling your cup? If not, what needs to shift and change? Also, third house, part of the inner child axis, or what I call the inner child axis. So is there still some inner child healing to do? It most likely is, because it's an ongoing process for all of us. Maybe that relationship with your siblings will take you back there. We shouldn't underestimate the third house. Often we overlook the third house as like, yeah, it's just the third house environment, yeah, social circle. But it goes much deeper. Also, we are talking about early life conditioning, your early life education, the way you've been educated. Remember, third house is mirroring the ninth house of religion. So it feeds into that as well. Maybe there's something about religion that you haven't really integrated. Sagittarius Rising. We're talking about the second house, worth and value. What does that mean? Your worth, your value. How valuable do you feel? How rooted are you into your worth? This also relates to money, of course. How you make a living, quite literally. Remember, the second, the sixth, and the 10th house work together when it comes to the purpose in life, your purpose in life. What do you still know you have to change there to be fully rooted in that? So you're more financially stable. So you're actually making money the way it feels right to you. And when I say feel, I'm using this word in the sense of that knowing, this is me, this is how I do it, and I enjoy it and I love it. Doesn't mean that there aren't issues sometimes. It's just part of living in this 3D reality. But where do you need to become more of yourself. More you, like in capital letters, you. And maybe there is still some re-evaluation of your values, your actual values. Also, second house is part of the inner child axis, right? Where we've been conditioned. It's what we see, the second house, 8th house axis, where we decondition in the 8th house, right? Because we are conditioned in the second house. But, you know, now with Pluto in the second house, there's also a deconditioning process going on in the second house. Then Capricorn Rising, for you, this is obviously, and has been obviously, a tremendous time with Pluto in your first house in terms of who am I, direction, my persona, my facade, my identity. Who am I in this world and where do I want to go? What is my direction? Remember, the second house is setting up the chart. So it sets up each house. And when it comes to direction, I think probably the last 15, 16, 17 years were really up and down for you. Like, do I go there? No, let me go there. Oh no, let me try to go there. Or maybe there is better. Or maybe I should go there. Maybe I should do this. But now it's the judgment day, as they say. Where are you at? And where are you going now? Have you restructured? Are you feeling more rooted? The first house is the house of, quote unquote, the biggest conditioning, right? We are super conditioned here. Also, in the first house is what we project out into the world and how people see us and what they project onto us. And often what people project onto us and who we truly deeply are two different things. But the important part is not what people project onto you, it's who you are, where you are going. Identity shifts were probably ongoing for you in the last 16, 17 years. So now, who are you now? What's your identity? What are you identifying as? I'm not talking about man or woman or like whatever, you know, that all that stuff that's out there right now. I'm talking about you as a soul, right? Pluto, the soul's potential. As a soul, how is your soul shining through all of that? Aquarius and Aquarius Rising. For you, this is a 12th house transit. And we're talking about, you know, your spiritual evolution as a human on this planet. What does that mean for you? You've been retreating a lot in the past 17 years, on and off. And you had to do that to become clear who you are now, what's next for you. Because when Pluto moves into your first house, it's that we are then, you know, it's all about identity. But in the past 17 years, it was more about that soul essence, spiritual. Who are you? What's your spiritual essence? And how do you want to show up with that spiritual? And how connected are you to your spiritual self? And how is that then helping you to show up out there in the world as the beautiful being that you are? I believe for you that the next 2.5 months are going to be a beautiful time of really honing in on that. Maybe you actually want to, you know, go and retreat, do an actual retreat. Doesn't have to be weeks long. Do a weekend, just really take some time to see where you're at there. And, you know, how do you want to move forward in the world in the next 20 years? Where do you want to go? And how can your spirituality, your connection to the divine help you with that? And then last but not least, Pisces and Pisces Rising. For you, my lovely Pisces, this transit is happening in the 11th house, the house of humanity, the house of friendships, the community, but also the house of your hopes and dreams. And Pluto was chipping away on that, right? Pluto was saying, okay, what are your hopes and dreams? Are you working towards them? Is your friendship circle, your community, the community you're in, is it helping you? Is it serving you? Moving towards that? Or are they on a completely different path? Do they have completely different ideas of the future? How we should live as a collective? Are you in the right environment, as in the right circle? And what are you giving back at this point to the people? What is your contribution to humanity, to society? Are you clear about that? Remember, the 11th house and the 5th house are connected, right? It's an axis. In order to give back to the people, to humanity, you got to be rooted in the 5th house, the house of self-expression. Are you expressing yourself as yourself, or you're imitating something or someone because you've been conditioned that way? It's a big place, the 11th house, when it comes to also philosophizing, right? We always talk about philosophy in the 9th house, but it's a different step, the next step of philosophizing about life and the future of humanity. In the 9th house, it's more about me, what I do, I believe. But in the 11th house, it's what do we need in this world? How do we make this world a better place? What's my contribution here? Who am I within all that? Who are you within all that? Who are you within humanity? Within this human existence on this planet. All right, my loves, that was it. Pluto in Capricorn. If you have any questions about this transit, feel free to comment below. If you want to know what exactly this means in your birth chart, you can get a reading. I also offer audio recordings that you can then keep forever. Just click on the link in the description box and you can find out more. And yeah, I wish you a beautiful day, beautiful weeks ahead, and I'll see you in the next video.